Hello everybody, this is Gregory with 5-Minute Catholic Apologetics, where 5 minutes of your time may get you to the divine. Today we're going to talk about 4 more pet peeves that I have about the typical Our Lady of Suburbia parish in your city. Now before we begin, let's start with a prayer. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritui Sancti. Amen. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto, secutor in principio et nunc et semper et seculi seculorum. Amen. The Canaries love hearing the prayers. So definitely check out the first part episode where I talk about some pet peeves like hand holding during the Our Father. Today we're going to talk about probably which is almost a greater offense in some ways, which is the architectural changes that have taken place since Vatican II. I remember reading maybe 15 years ago, Ugly as Sin by Michael Rose. And it's a great book. And of course, I don't make any money by telling you about this book. But he talks about how a lot of parishes after V2 started hiring Protestant architects. And of course, the Protestant architects don't really see the sanctuary as a sacred space. So they kind of changed the churches from a sacred space to like an all-purpose room. And so you can definitely see that played out throughout the last 50 years. But let's focus on some of the architecture. So number 1, stained glass. In the old days, and of course you can go to your oldest churches in your city, they're the basilica style, the ancient Roman basilica style. So the basilicas existed in ancient Rome, and then we kind of co-opted that architecture when Christianity, Catholicism was legalized in the 4th century. But you know what it is. It's that long, and at the end there's the apse where you have the altar and the tabernacle. And then you would have stained glass on the side. And you saw this kind of probably best epitomized in the High Gothic period of the 13th, 14th century. But even churches even built in the 1930s and 40s, still had stained glass. Why? Why did they do it in the old days? Most of the people were illiterate. Most of the people couldn't read the parables or read about the stories that were in the Bible. So you could educate children and people by having stained glass. Right? The story of the prodigal son, for example. And you can have stained glass of the Annunciation. You know, there's tons of things to do. Peter getting the keys of the kingdom from Jesus. So we would teach you things. Now you go to most churches, the sliver stained glass, and lots of times they'll have like these weird cryptic like flowers, or sometimes they get the paganist wind, the water, the fire. So you go from having this beautiful stained glass, which just illuminates the church so beautifully, to no stained glass at all. What else? Number 2, hand in hand with that, statues. Go to any like colonial Latin American church, old European churches, the Vatican, you know, you have the main part, and then you'll have these side chapels, and you'll have statues everywhere. Statues of all the saints, statues of St. Joseph, Mary, Jesus, baby Jesus, like Talladega Nights, you know, whatever you like. Just statues everywhere. And next one would be the candles. So you could light candles as kind of a visible expression of your prayer. Most Our Lady of Suburbia parishes have gotten rid of most statues compared to the way we used to have it. Now you might have, you know, you'll hopefully have the crucifix behind the altar. You might have the resurrected Jesus. Maybe you'll have an Our Lady of Guadalupe. Maybe you'll have a St. Joseph or a St. Mary somewhere, but it's not the same. And most suburban parishes have gotten rid of the candles as well, which again just make these churches so beautiful. If you walk into a beautiful colonial Latin American church, right, there's a smell, the incense, the illumination only by the candles. It's gorgeous. What else? Number 3. It reminds me of Dirty Dancing. Nobody puts baby in a corner. How many people or how many churches have put the tabernacle in a closet? You know, and that maybe that's hyperbolic to say the closet, but you saw this at the Vatican II. So beforehand, basilica style, big crucifix, tabernacle, altar, normally right next to the crucifix with the retablo, but still, you'd have an altar, you'd have the tabernacle. Now what did they do? A lot of churches moved the tabernacle into another room. Why? Why did we do this? So in a lot of these suburban parishes, Jesus is in a room and nobody is visiting him. Yes, I know they'll have perpetual adoration for 4 hours a week or whatever it is. But as a whole, on a Sunday when you go to these churches, there'll be maybe a person or two who goes in there after Mass to spend time in the tabernacle. Why'd we do this? Why did we have to separate the two? The tabernacle should be in the church. To me, this is one of the gravest offenses that bothers me. You put Jesus in a closet in the tabernacle. And number 4, to keep this short, because I could talk a long time on all of these, the octagonal style of churches. This drives me crazy. I understand. Put the altar in the middle, right? Because it's the center and we can all focus on it. It's like anything that has to do with tradition, let's just throw it out. Basilica style worked for, 1,700 years. Yeah, no, let's go octagonal. Now, I get it. The Byzantine churches did have more of an octagonal style as a whole, but it was not the same as let's put the altar in the middle and then all the portable pews, because they're not permanent, right? That's another thing. Portable pews are all lined up, and then, of course, we'll have the choir next to the altar because we have to go after that, right? So what happens? And I see this in my own adoration chapel. They put the tabernacle with the monstrance in the middle. So what do you end up doing? You're just tempted to look around, to look at people across from you. So you lose focus. You lose focus. So you're looking around. Everyone's looking at each other. Who's seeing who? Why? Right? This is all the Protestantization of the sacred liturgy. And all 4 of these drive me crazy. So of course I go to a parish that doesn't have any of these things, because I love stained glass. I like dark lighting. I like classic basilica style. I love statues. Guys, let me know what you think of these 4 abuses. Give me 4 more abuses in the comments that you don't like. Guys, please hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. It helps the algorithm send it to like-minded people when you get these episodes when they come up. Share with like-minded people. And as always, take care. God bless and pray.